Hi again, unlicensed thinkers. My question to start this video is going to be, do you consider yourself an oppressed person or an oppressor? And if so, does it help to think so? Does it benefit you in any way to see yourself as one of these things? Does it benefit society for you to see yourself as one of these things? Does it benefit to see others in this way? Just something to think about. Yuri Bezmenov defected from Russia, from the KGB, I guess Soviet Union, and he talked about a lot of things. I'll link his name below. Fantastic man to look up. He had a lot to say about how to infiltrate a society. One of the things he talked about was demoralization of a population. Because once you demoralize people, once you get them to hate themselves in some way, once you get them to think very little of themselves, they become easy to control. And that's exactly where you want someone, is for them to be easy to control, because then you have this domineering society, and you can get them to do what you want. You can have the people in the upper classes who make a lot of money, while everyone else is sort of their servants, so to speak. They're working for them in some way. Now, recently there's been a lot of talk of critical theory, critical race theory, the modern fourth wave feminism, all this different activism that's going on. And then there's, I guess that plays into it too. I was going to say there's racism and sexism, but they're also part of the critical theory and the modern feminism and the critical race theory. So I guess that would be just being redundant. So when you're telling people these things about themselves that all of these do tell, such as I was born white, male, straight, so I am supposedly, according to this, all of these horrible things. I am a racist, I am a sexist, I am against trans people. And what I'm supposed to do in this religion of critical theory and through this process of demoralization is I'm supposed to apologize for all of these things. But I'm not sorry. I was simply born this way, and I don't behave in those ways. I have respect for women. I really don't care what color your skin is. I don't care who you sleep with. Like, none of this really matters to me in any way whatsoever. So I have nothing to apologize. But that's the idea of the critical theory, is to demoralize someone like myself into believing that I need to apologize to everyone simply for being born the way that I was born. Now, this is really sad because of what this does to people. It takes someone who is potentially a good person, I won't assume, but just have any person, grab any random person out there who was born a certain way, who is supposed to feel like they're an oppressor according to this critical theory, and you demoralize them by doing that, by telling them how bad they are just simply for who they are, is a horrible thing to do to a person. Because what we start to believe starts to become our reality. And so when you tell someone that they are an oppressor, they hear it enough times, and just like any propaganda, when they hear it enough times, they start to believe it, and they start to become demoralized. They start to see themselves as not valuable. They start to see themselves as bad no matter what they do. And when you're bad no matter what you do, there's not really any point in trying to be good anymore, because you're already bad. And I think about this from the other side. You have people on the other side of the critical theory idea. And so you have women and minorities, and I mean, minorities, that's a funny one, right? Because are we talking about minorities in the US or minorities in other countries? I mean, what exactly are we talking about here? But we'll talk about the US. So we have minorities in the US, and we have women, we have gay people, trans people, whatever you might be. And you're being told that you're oppressed, but you're not. Not in the eyes of someone like me, because I don't see you as any different unless you behave like an asshole, and then I'll treat you as such. But so long as we don't have that problem, then we don't have a problem. But the problem is that you're being told that you are oppressed. And so what you believe starts to become your reality. So you start to believe that you're oppressed. And then people, maybe like myself, start to believe that they are oppressors. And so you have an entire population, or at least a huge portion of the population, believing one of these two things. Either they are oppressor or oppressed, and they begin to hate themselves. They become demoralized. And again, demoralized people are easier to control because they don't feel as empowered, as free as someone who is empowered, who does feel like they're a good, valuable, powerful person. That's what I want everyone to feel. I want everyone to feel good and powerful. If I was to raise a child and all I ever did was say, "You're ugly and you're stupid," that would be considered abuse. Yet, when someone raises a child and says, "You're oppressed," be it for whatever reason, that's not considered abuse. What you're doing is you're changing that person's reality, that child's reality, to believe that they are an oppressed person. And so they are going to behave in ways that an oppressed person would. Or you're raising a child to believe that they are an oppressor. And so they are going to, again, with the subconscious thing, but they're going to behave in ways that are like an oppressor, and it's going to come out in strange ways. It's not going to come out in overt ways like, "I hate those people over there. Those people are worthless." No, it's going to come out in different ways. It's going to come out in more subtle ways. And I'm not going to get into that in this video, but that is something that happens in our society presently, where things like racism and sexism are not overt, they're covert. But either way, you have these people growing up, and they're being told as they grow up, instead of "you're ugly and you're stupid," they're being told, "You're oppressed, you're an oppressor." And that's what they understand their life and their selves and their world to be, is this horrible thing that their parents and their society are telling them. To me, that is a worse form of child abuse than just saying "you're ugly." Of course, that's not very nice, but it really comes off as you're not just destroying this outward image of themselves, you are destroying like who they think they are as a person. And that is absolutely horrible. You're destroying what they think they can do, what they think they can accomplish, how it is that they are mean right from the start. These are horrible things to do to somebody. And I honestly, it breaks my heart to see it happening on such a grand scale in society presently. Sorry, I got a visitor on my lap here. He wants to know what we're talking about. He gets really confused when I talk to the camera. He thinks I'm an idiot. He's like, "Why are you talking to this thing?" And so, in the end, what happens is there's a dissonance created. And so, this dissonance is, you grow up and society tells you, like in the case of someone like myself, "You're an oppressor, you're a mean person, you're a bad person, you're horrible to these other people." And that dissonance is like, wait, no. I'm not a bad person. I'm sure of it that I'm not a bad person. And then you either break and you say, "Oh yes, I am a bad person. I have done these horrible things." And that's just like what happens in a religion. You have to break down and admit your sins and all this kind of stuff. But the dissonance is created. It's like you say, "Well, but I don't behave like a bad person, but I'm told I'm a bad person, so am I a bad person?" And dissonance creates all kinds of horrible things, but the main one that it creates is anger and lashing out and stuff like that. So it's not something that you want ingrained into somebody. And then from the other side, the dissonance that's created on the people who are made to feel like they are oppressed is in their minds, and this other story that they hear is that you're powerful, you can do anything you want, but you're oppressed, so you can't do anything you want. Or you're oppressed, so you need other people's help in order to do it. You need help from these people who are the oppressors, so these people who are not nice to you are somehow supposed to help you to get the thing, otherwise you can't do it on your own, and that's just ridiculous. But then they're also being told you're powerful, you're strong, you can do anything you want. And this dissonance is created. They don't know what to do. And what happens when people don't know what to do is they sort of freeze and they don't act. And so it's like when you give somebody too many choices. They don't know which to choose, and so they pause, they hesitate, they can't make up their mind because they have too many choices. There's too much bouncing around back and forth in their head. And so that's what happens when you tell someone that they're oppressed. They feel powerful and oppressed at the same time. So they don't, what do you do? Do you go and take over the world, or do you hide in a corner? And so they don't know which to do. So they do nothing. And that leads to absolutely horrible things in society. That leads to people who could be capable of absolute freaking greatness not living up to their potential. And it's not because they're oppressed. Maybe in some cases they are. I don't want to get into that because that's just finding excuses. We can hunt for them and we can find them, which is exactly what I have on my next note, is if you are looking for oppression, you're going to find it. You will find it. It will be hiding everywhere. When you move a piece of paper, it'll be under that piece of paper. When you drive to the store, it'll be there. When you're at home watching TV, oh, there it is. It's all oppression. Because you find what you're looking for. You always do. Now, if you're looking for empowerment, if you're looking for happiness, that's what I generally look for. I find empowerment. I find happiness because that's what I look for. That's what shows up in my world. That's the way our brain works. You buy a new car, you see that car everywhere because that's what you're thinking about. That's what's on your mind. That is your reality, is that car. And so that car is now everywhere on the road. You didn't see them last week, but now you see them everywhere you go. So remember, I just tied it to happiness, and remember that I also like to tie things into how this works for manifestation. So energy flows where attention goes. So if your attention is going to be oppressed, the universe will say, oh, look, they like being oppressed. That's what they think about. That's what they look for. That's what they talk about. You know what I'm going to do just to do them a favor? Because the universe is nice like this. It says, if that's what you want to put all your attention on, I'm going to give you some oppression. And you're going to get oppression and failure. And that is not what I want to see for you. I want you to have the best. I want you to succeed at every freaking thing you do. I want you to be a damn winner. And I want you to tell both the universe and your subconscious mind that you are powerful. And I want you on the other side of that to tell your subconscious and the universe that you are a good person and that you deserve everything, because all of you deserve to be able to get exactly what you want. And the only thing that's going to be in your way is what you decide to put in your way. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Be sure to hit like and share the video.